Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Look who's back. It is SCS here in the start of Season 5. We're currently starting off Day 1 of our first qualifiers, and I've stolen somebody from across the pond, no Jay-Z today. It's Mr. McCready. Hello.
Hello, my man, how you doing? It's been so long, we were talking about this before. It's been absolutely months since we've last seen each other, since we've last casted. I've missed it, and I can't wait to get back into it because it's just so much fun.
That it is, and like we were saying, we are starting off here in qualifiers, and we're going to start off with probably some of our best teams, at least what's starting to be looking like our best teams. Two Challenger League teams, one from north of the border from Canada, and then one from the US division going at, starting things off, and honestly, we found ourselves in this question earlier this week when we were looking at, the CCS games and Nerd Street series. If you're a Challenger League team, are you going to be bringing out your big grandiose strats? Most likely not. So this could turn into quite an interesting series where we have two very competent teams going at each other just in the fragging department.
Yeah, now, as I was about to touch upon that, I think if we're seeing these teams that might not necessarily want to give away too much, then we're probably going to go see this ranked kind of meta come through. They're going to go in, they say, all right, it's going to be a lot of fun, but we need to be quite careful. Looking at the teams here, though, these are all the teams that are going to be taking part, and a ton of names are coming through, and a few ones that I do want to pay attention to. Aerial Rise, I've seen them a few times, I've never casted them, but I'm quite excited to see how they do. 303 at eSports as well, that's another name I recognize, but I'm sure you know a lot more about them than I do, Chief.
Aerial Rise is always a good place to start. They're, well, the CCS champions after all, so they've been kind of struggling though when they participate down in T3. They're used to playing against the big boys in T2, but the way this league is starting to look out for Season 5, there's going to be a lot of T2 talent here, so they're going to be somebody you want to watch out for. But on the other side of the page, Air Force Gaming is back. They've participated in every single qualifier. They've had some great runs, but they've been unable to actually make it into a season. So they're an underdog story that I would love to see be successful.
Oh, look, there's a couple of teams I actually know on here. We've got a men's coming up. That's a name I recognize. I've seen them in a couple more leagues. They've been known to provide some quite interesting games to watch at the very least. Honor, though, that's also a team that, like you said, is going to be one of these huge teams coming in so far that we do desperately want to see coming into it. So, I mean, I'm quite excited to get into this. I feel Disrupt and Digital Dynasty as well. Those games, we need to keep an eye on them, even if they're not being on stream. We need to keep an eye on the tournament page at least.
So yeah, the Disrupt gaming that you see, that's actually the women's team, but they're just as lethal as the men's team that's currently participating in T1 of the NAL. So we'd love to see them be casted, and suspicion they will be casted at some point. But nonetheless, there's somebody you need to watch out for. Also returning from Season 4, it's a derivative of the original roster, but it's going to be Jimmy and the boys. Mr. Jimmy Bucket, a fan favorite, is here to play, and he is here to stay, at least hopefully. Luxury Gold, a lot of good friends on that roster, and old teammates, for the matter of fact, so hopefully they'll make it. And coming out of the collegiate sphere, that is going to be the Terror themselves, Matt Squared. Part of that roster of Akron just found themselves as a 9-time collegiate champion.
That is nothing to shy away from at all. I mean, the collegiate scene, it's something that a lot of people will shy away from, but 9 times? That's definitely got to give you at least some clout moving forward. You know, you go in and you say, okay, this isn't just a uni team or a college team. They actually have quite a bit of weight behind them. Now, Redux Rising, Revenge, Phantom, there are some more names that I do recognize myself, and I'm quite excited to see these teams at the moment because, like I said, there's something that I know at least here. Now, Rats with Gats, that's a name that I absolutely love.
They're a roster, and unfortunately, Production has just... so Productions has just told us that Rats with Gats will no longer be participating. They pulled out, and that's one of those moments where Productions providing super information. So much love, Nash. We appreciate that. And Project Neo, another staple of the T3 era, is here to play, and another roster that most likely will be going to the closed, and also another fan favorite, Synthetic. They have a new roster. We all love the old Yep Flopper roster, but they've actually picked up old DPS.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Chief, here now. I've been in EU quite a bit recently, so that doesn't mean that much to me. So hopefully if we do see these guys today, that'll be absolutely huge. I can get a sense for what the new Synthetic roster has brought it to the table. We have the opinion what they had before, and then we'll have the opinion of myself. This is my first impression with the brand, but I'm seeing a couple of other names on here that we should also be looking out for. The Wolves, the Gatekeepers as well, and some to prove I think they might have something that they want to demonstrate. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure. You'll have to keep me abreast of that.
So we've actually seen Wichita Wolves come in too. They also have a new roster. Seems to be so many teams that are staple names in T3, but all of a sudden they changed their names, and with a new roster, it is the TPA roster with Jigs coming through. So we're gonna have to see what they're capable of. And honestly, we've just highlighted what 20 different teams, all of them being incredibly capable, but here only 10 of them can move into the open, and then only 10 can make it into the league after that, since 2 of our teams have already auto-qualified, that being the old roster of In Control Nation, now known as D2E, and then Pride.
Yeah, so looking at this, we've got a lot of teams. We've got a lot of games coming up tonight, so I think it's quite important to also point out that we got parallel streams running. We've got the SFCL, as you can see above me, and 9ball Esports as well. They're both going to be running streams, so if this game you want to see isn't necessarily on here, you go check out those channels. Maybe it's there. And as we look down towards below me, round 1 is going to be Honor Esports versus the Gatekeepers, 2 teams that you said we do definitely need to keep an eye on, and it's going to be a good game regardless of what happens.
So we're going to be starting off on Oregon, and that is a staple map no matter where you're playing, up in T2 or down here in T3. And going back to the point we're making earlier, I'm doubting that they're going to bring out any type of big crazy strategies. They're probably going to be hiding everything. I'm really excited about what that means. Hopefully that means somebody is flying out a window, because you know I do love that, but I doubt that's going to be the case.
Well, heading into the bans though, we're going to be finding out what happens. Now, let's be honest, I'm gonna shock you on this one, Chief, and I'm gonna say maybe a Thatcher, maybe a Maverick as well. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's see what this first ban is. And coming out, it's gonna be from the Gatekeepers. It's gonna be an ace, actually.
So range hard breaching can be very useful. However, Ace doesn't necessarily need to utilize that range hard breaching here on Oregon. It actually comes down to him acting as like a multi-tool or a Swiss Army knife, where most teams are electing to take from North Attic. The Ace is charged with opening up that wall, and then he rotates over to South Games. That requires 2 Selma charges, which means he has 1 more in his back pocket that he can utilize throughout the map. And you also couple that with a Maverick ban, and that type of strategy is going to be incredibly taxing on your hard breachers. It's also going to be taxing on the IGL, trying to orchestrate all of that momentum and movement between those attacking teams, because rotations and setting up your crossfires are so important.
Yeah, and Cade being taken away doesn't really surprise me with this bandit with this Thermite still on the board, sorry. Or Thatcher. I'm getting tangled up because I'm too excited to get into the game, but the Thatcher being on the board means that if you take away the Cade, the defenders still have a chance at bandit tricking, and I think that's where we're seeing Honor. They're showing a little bit of their mentality. They don't want to shoot themselves in the foot too much by taking away the bandit, because then the Cade, you can Thatcher that quite easily, the same with the Valkyrie that we just saw being removed, and it speeds up a lot of the pushes. At least with bandit on the board, you know the other team are going to bandit trick, but you can do the same. So heading to this bottom floor, I'm quite interested to see how this Thatcher will impact the game. I think it's going to speed it up a lot, but we'll have to see.
So returning back to the collegiate scene that we were talking about a little bit earlier, we've been seeing Maverick and or Thatcher slip through the ban phases a little bit more. Now, these players that we're watching here today, the Gatekeepers and Honors, they're much higher level than those collegiate players, but it's interesting to see that exact same type of strategy and storyline starting to pan out. And honestly, Greedy, it's extremely refreshing to see it happen. It is so nice to watch the attacking team be able to not only remove gadgetry on the walls, but also remove soft gadgetry throughout the map. We talk about how important it is to hold like an apex position such as J Bunker, where we currently see Smoke putting down his deployable shield. Well, you're going to couple that with at minimum 2 ADSs. But if you
Okay, I do believe we're back, Chief. Welcome back to the qualifiers for Season 5 of SCS. Now, absolutely huge start coming out the gate so far. Unfortunately, the last 2 rounds weren't picked up, but at least I can say, Chief, the last 2 rounds, they were incredible to see, and Honor starting hot off the gate.
I'm still perplexed by how Honor is just winning these opening duels. They have this string of information throughout the map by their pre-established drones, and the Gatekeepers are wanting to play super aggressive. And unfortunately to them, they have no idea that they're constantly on just this network of drones. And then the side executes are just as brilliant. We see a full utility dump, whether it's not those EMP grenades, flashbangs, explosives utilities, just breaking down every single mini game on site, forcing members of the Gatekeepers to swing. And when they swing, there is a member of Honor just waiting for that contingency. They have the contingency plan established, and they just click heads.
Yeah, now, one thing that's really standing out to me right now is Gatekeepers. They're playing very aggressive, and they're playing very aggressive on these roams, which is something you pointed out as well in that last round to me. But one thing I've noticed is that they're not playing these setups that are built for a Thatcherot being on the board. I believe there was at one point during the stream being down, as we see Gunnar getting tagged up a bit, where we saw all 3 Jaeger ADSs and I believe a Cage Charge as well being taken out with just 1 EMP, and that's something Gatekeepers aren't just adjusting for.
You know, I think that's fair criticism, but like if I was in this lobby, I would probably just be playing hyper aggressive because keep in mind, you have 2 Challenger League rosters. And if you want to look at Honor, they have Rams, a T1 analyst that would be breaking this down and reverse engineering theirs. Maybe not for our league, but for, you know, T2 or T1 at some point. Now, shots being exchanged. Surf is going to fall, an instrument of chaos for Honor. One who's been tasked with getting those opening duels, as well as those 3 breaching rounds now being sacrificed. That is going to be a huge thorn in the side of Honor, and this might be Gatekeeper's opportunity to find something on the scoreboard.
Yes, half the round ticking down into a 4v4. Now, Honor, they're in a really good position, as well as you say, it could be Gatekeeper's opportunity. This could be another opportunity for Honor to put another round on the board. Aristotle, currently 5-0, still has 2 EMPs, can clear out a lot of utility. The attic side is open as well, Splash's attention absolutely just taken away. And now, as the EMP will go off in that trophy door, a frag grenade could follow, or a player. Anything could happen right now, and Gatekeepers, they need to be careful. Gunnar, though, will go for the swing and gets a kill, but gets traded out very quickly from Pox, and I think this round's about to explode.
It's going to be a little bit of quiet before things start popping off. Splash on a huge roam is going to find himself down, not looking in the right direction. As a long angle from Armory. His life has now been forfeit, and the 2 remaining members of the Gatekeepers are going to have to hold the forts and stop the floodgates of Honor, who's going to start to fly into this bomb site. A nice crossfire is being established towards the east. Fox can go for the plant, but he's going to have to call in for some additional reinforcements just to break down that crossfire. Aristotle will be tasked with that, as he's now posted up on the big window. The 2 defenders are locked away. They are not able to return to each other, and another member is going to fall. And Nitrous answers back by a perfectly preset diffuser, now surrendered on island over by Games. Phil Winter's the last remaining player. He's going to have to go for the swing. Shots exchanged, locked down on the white stairs. Able to succeed on 1. It's going to go to time. He goes for the knife, but Gatekeepers will win their first round in round 4. A heartbreaker. Honor did so many things right, but they just made one small mistake, which cost them the round.
That pre-play C4, it was just such big brain, able to find Gatekeepers that round that they desperately needed to put on the board so far, and now they're going to be returning to the bottom floor. But realistically, we got to break that down a lot more. We saw Pox was in position in closet ready to push, called for the support over in attic, bringing the teammates around, bringing, I believe it was Wolseys, coming over with the speed of light. Now, the biggest problem for that was he had to clear it out. He had to drone it. You still had Aristotle on that breach, but you still have to get the players around. The pre-play C4 goes off. There's nobody there to pick up the diffuser in time. And at that point, the shots just go out. You're able to find those frags, and Feldwinter very nicely played from White Stairs, forcing that time. And I want to see more from that from the Gatekeepers, because this can be an incredible game if that is what we see. But returning to the bottom floor, we're seeing a different setup than before, and we need to see adaptation to maybe deal with a freezer push or a laundry push coming out from Honor. There needs to be more versatility in this defense.
What still concerns me about the defensive roster of Gatekeepers is the only reason they won last round was off a miraculous clutch play by Fel Winter. Is that something that you're going to be able to replicate in other rounds? You might be able to, but it's not a sustainable strategy. You need to directly learn from the mistakes you're making and reverse engineer it. And honestly, I'm happy to see that Gatekeepers are on the board. but round 4 is not them learning from their mistakes. It's just them being able to win because they have strong players. But nonetheless, the attackers are going to be relinquished from their spawns as they start to clear out the map. When we were here back in basement round 1, which wasn't shown on screen, we saw Honor make a rotation at the time that I called was maybe ill-advised, wasn't going to achieve what they wanted, but nonetheless, they're able to bulldoze their way down the west stairwell of Freezer, and it seems like they're going to go away from that north tower execute altogether, trying to have their prize be set on that Freezer stairs.
Now, this makes a lot of sense to me, especially when we're talking about possibly saving strategy at CL, because when you're playing at that league, you're probably going to want to focus on the big tower. That's what a lot of teams do. Typically, the freezer or main laundry push will come down as a bit of a strat to throw the other team. So when you're doing that, I think this is where we're going to see the game go to, and it gives us a little bit of fresh air when it comes to seeing this map. Now, Surf will be able to get this very early aggression into that rear stage area, looks for the cam, and is able to find the head of Feldwinter as well, opening things up with that opening frag. Yet again, Honor are able to pick it up, something you did touch upon, where Honor, they're constantly leading the way, and Gatekeepers are trying to keep up.
I love how Honor has a lot of flexibility here on attack, particularly with the 2 hard breachers being available, and you couple that with a hard breach facilitator like Thatcher, and all of these walls will be broken down, whether or not the attackers want to take from this J bunker, where you currently see smoke being played, or you want to start to open up that E-box hatch. However, they're still going to have to deal with those bandit batteries in play, and Gunner being alive means he can directly pick those bandit charges up and actively trick those walls. So you do have to be very careful, and maybe before you send your hard breach utility down range, you've drone it out beforehand.
Oh, a very nice pre-fire coming out from Wolfseas, though, is able to find that kill onto Gunner, taking away the bandit and the C4. Most importantly, a lot of late round ability where we saw that last round being won out from, not really going to be coming into play late, but you still got a Maestro, you got a Smoke. Those are 2 huge operators to have on the board, and Splash, looking to play this freezer very aggressively, can bring something huge up right now if this frag grenade doesn't get the kill. Or Oreo pushing up is just unable to land the shots. Will finally be able to do it, but just in time to refrag box as soon as they go down. But 2 versus 4 on site. Wolfseas and Apollo will trade, and now it's a 1 versus 3.
Rexav is in a tight spot over by E-Box. Gets 1. Oreo looking the wrong day. That's a step in the right direction, but it seems like Rexav does not know that the bomb is being planted on the other bomb site. It has been confirmed. It's going to be a clutch situation for our lovely Smoke here. He has utility in his back pocket. He's going to elect to go for the heads-up gunfight instead. Shots exchange. Rexav is going to be the loser of that, prompting a Toxic Babe in return, trying to choke away the remaining members of Honor. Aristotle will be losing a ton of his HP to that, but a nice pre-fire will shut down Rexav, and Honor seems to be the masters downstairs here in the basement.
Yeah, now starting to pick up a lot of rounds, especially on the bottom floor. They haven't lost it once. They've only lost Kidsbet Dorm. And honestly, that's a very strong start out of the gate for them. They've been taking this aggression. They've been taking the Thatcher and just running miles with it at this point. So I think it's definitely leaning into what you said about taking those defender-sided maps, bringing it to the attackers. The question is, will it stick around? We'll only be able to find out in the next round, but right now, Honor, they're looking very, very good. Incredible stats being posted up. Currently, at least, you've already got 3 players on 6 kills. Fox and Oreo, they're playing these support roles, so not really shocking me enough. They're not picking up as many kills. And I mean, I know I'm saying the obvious. I'm having a stroke apparently, but most importantly, all the players of Honor, in my eyes, are really stepping up. Gatekeepers, they're having to rely on, like you said, a couple of these players like Feldwinter or Targaryen. There's no real sense of unity in the same way there is on Honor, where you can put anyone into that gunfight, and I'd probably back them to win it.
I'm not really comfortable with the defense going to basement 4 different times, particularly since they have been unable to win it. Now, again, I think we're going to be talking about this a ton. You don't want to show your strategies, but at least bring out a bomb site that isn't basement. And you know what? If your tertiary bomb site is meeting room, you know what? This is an opportunity to show dorms. And you can just run a default strategy where you send all your impact grenades down range, burning away some of that hard breach utility. But the Gatekeeper, the attempting this basement once again. Maybe they're going to go for an extended roam, try to take the gunfights directly to Honor. However, it seems like the reverse Uno card from Honor as they take the gunfights to the Gatekeepers as they're starting to rush through Laundry.
Yes, now that Banshee will go off Felwinter, spot Surf, but Aristotle's going to be the first one to find that kill. Fox will back up Felwinter, trying to deal some damage with the support of Rexavy, but Aristotle's able to find another one. The smoke canisters going out very early into the round. Surf, nothing that can really be done will be found lying on his face, but now Gatekeepers, they have to be prepared for these flanks. They have to deal with Honor saying, we have that man advantage, we can go for a flank, we've got a lot of time. We can just step back, and that's what they're going to do.
And Surf falling, one of the most important openers for Honor, unable to participate, relegated to Cam Watch duty. And what Honor's doing very well is they've rushed in through Laundry. They realize that they've caused a lot of chaos, are able to pick up 2 kills, and they're going to start to play this round a little bit more traditionally. They've recalled all their troops, and here comes their hard breach gadgetry. They're going to open up the E-box wall. They're going to reassess how the Gatekeepers are holding these positions, and they're going to go for an execute. It can still be down those Laundry stairs. It could be from the Freezer stairs, the North stairs, or through J Bunker. They have a lot of tools at their disposal, and the Gatekeepers are going to have to be on their toes and directly react to what Honor decides to do, something that they've been unable to do in this series.
Yeah, now, only being able to find that 1 kill onto the Ash so far, that's not looking really good at this point. Now, Honor, like I said, they've got a player. They're taking their time. They're just saying the 30-second meta, we're going to do the opposite of it. Now, Aristotle is going to be on these tower stairs, can deal with this Banshee very quickly, and if Targaryen wasn't playing here, could sneak by undetected. However, Gatekeepers, they've not been sleeping during this time. They've been looking at it. They've been saying, okay, what would they be doing? If they're not going for this push anymore, where are they going to be? So they've gone for a nice split, and they've said, right, let's just hold it. Let's wait and see what's going on. That's the right call in my eyes, but as the drones start to come through, I feel there might be a bit of a premature rotation coming.
We're going to have to see how the cards will be dealt for the Gatekeepers. Targaryen getting aggressive once again over by Boiler. He will collect one, attempting to collect a second, which he will do perfectly. Now it's Gatekeeper's turn to be in control this round as they have a +1 man advantage. The Diffuser sorted over by the North Stairs. It's going to have to be collected by a member of Honor. It's going to be Wolfie's tasked with that. Now dropping the E-box hatch. It's going to be Aristotle pre-firing towards the Freezer door, attempting to collect one. He will do so, but Rexavy with 2 kills. Another round win for Gatekeepers, but it's a 4-2 split for the attackers, something that you don't see every day here on Oregon.
Ooh, very nice execution there from Rexavy, just to literally execute those players. That was very nicely done from them, but yes, like you say, a 4-2 split in favor of the attackers. Whether it's a case of Honor just being better, or it being that Thatcher being such a key player, this is where it's going to show. If that Thatcher is itself realistically just changing the entire side and changing the dynamic of this map, then we'll see that with very little step up from Gatekeepers. I don't expect Honor to really slip when it comes to their fragging potential, even though it did a little bit in that last round. I'm still expecting a lot of aggression from them. I'm expecting them to take gunfights that they know that they can do. And looking into this round, they're going to be going to what seems like the Gatekeepers, their final hurdle. It took them 6 rounds. And the 6th round, they were able to win out this bomb site. Now they're going to have to try and attack it and get it right in 1. So I'm quite interested to see how their attack differs to Honor, because I feel there's going to be variations.
And our sample size is honestly just too low to understand Thatcher's impact on attack, because he has one of the highest ban rates at all. And what's even more perplexing is when he's allowed through the ban phase, at least from the T1 examples that we've seen, he isn't always played. It's one of those perplexing operators where I think he kind of falls in what I refer to as the Mira fallacy. And Mira is an operator that we know for being aggressive. But if you're banning her in scrims and she comes out in a live match, well, you're not going to be playing her in a live match simply because you probably don't have strategies for her. And if you do have strategies for her, you might not be comfortable enough to bring them in a live match because you haven't been scrimming with her. However, Thatcher isn't as structural as Mira because you have to put Miras in fixed positions and you have to know how the attackers are going to be pushing around it. Thatcher is a good gun. The L85 is a jack of all trade, and you can use the utility everywhere.
Now, I'm gonna touch upon what you were saying when it comes to bringing out these operators that you're not really sure how to use. And I feel like constantly being banned in the case of Mira and Thatcher means they're not exactly as important anymore. And strats can't revolve around them if you expect this operator to be banned all the time, i.e., when Thatcher was constantly banned, teams. Yes, it came as a shock to start with, but teams had to adapt. They had to learn how to do things without it, how to mav trick, how to go for these split pushes. And suddenly, when Thatcher's on the board, it just speeds it up. And I think there's something similar with Mirror. It's something you can incorporate, but it's not as important as it would have been, say, back before the backpick ban system got introduced. However, turning back to this game, we are seeing the Gatekeepers taking a much more careful and slow approach to this side. Although it's not going to help us, Sif is able to find the first kill onto Targaryen, taking away the Ashe, taking away a lot of hard breach potential. That is not a great start, but it's easily not the worst they could have had.
Well, we're talking about teams not bringing out unique strategies. Honor's going to do the exact opposite. The Mira window facing towards the north side, directly challenging the J bunker entry is phenomenal, just like the shot from Splash. And this is a great position for Honor to be in, even though they are an equal man count. You've taken down the Ashe, but if you were able to find a hard breacher such as Rexavy, you can find yourself in a better position. Utility dump is going to be answered by the Gatekeepers. They've opened up one of the walls, and that's going to be a line of sight towards the A bomb site, but nobody is ready to repeat that angle on the side of the defenders.
Yeah, now what I really like to see so far is Honor. They're playing it aggressive, like I said, and we're going to see Pox being able to take this gunfight and take that kill onto Splash, and now they're going to be looking for a second, but low HP has to pull back and bank on the support of their team. Pox, though, able to find Feltwalter, finding their second. Absolutely huge to step up for the team so far. 2 players remaining on the Gatekeepers with 20 seconds left. You have got a Thatcher, so there's a lot of potential on the board, but is it going to be that important? Are you going to be able to win out these gunfights? We are about to see as the push. It needs to come through. Gunner is able to find Pox, finishing off the Maestro, but is it too late? Rexavy finds one, has to look for another in Freezer, is unable to find it, but oh, the turn doesn't get the kill. Gunner, though, has to watch this cross. Wolfies has to make the push, and that's it. Honor just able to clear up, and my heart is in my mouth right now, Chief. What just happened?
That was such a good round. Those are one of those scenarios where you just have a smile on your face no matter how that round goes out. The Gatekeepers were able to break down the setup of Honor, except for the last 15 seconds. That is the problem with these types of executes where you have to go through the mini games. We're no longer in utility consumption simulator, but you have to be wary of that clock because it can catch up to you. And when you find yourself shift Wing your way into the bomb site, desperately trying to go for a plant and relying on your last remaining teammate to cover you, it's a high risk reward scenario, but it's your really only option. The Gatekeepers played it the best that they could. However, Honor was just prepared.
Need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
I feel the best thing that we saw from Gatekeepers, easily, it was a lot more careful, a lot more measured on their attack than what we saw in their defense. And most importantly, Honor weren't able to utilize the aggression of their attack. When they went in on attack, they said, okay, we push fast, we push hard, we win our gunfights, we take them off guard. But when the Gatekeepers are attacking, an aggressive defense just doesn't translate into the same success. So they're coordinating really nicely, they're pushing for these gunfights that they're able to win, and eventually we saw that 2 versus 4. A very nice effort to bring it back, and very good coordination you can see going through Rexavy and Gunner, both having an opportunity to shine for their team, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be. Honor they've been a lot more confident taking these gunfights, and it quite clearly shows, especially in that scoreline. With Honor going 5 rounds up, only 2 away from closing out this whole thing to the Gatekeepers 2, and I don't feel that reflects the playstyles of both teams.
So the attackers, they're going to have to start to make these adaptations quickly as they're finding themselves on the losing end of the scoreboard by a large margin. And it's going to start off with how they elect to execute here into dorms. It seems to be a linear take from the Gatekeepers as they want control of the master bedroom. This is going to free up all of their utility, but it's also going to mean that they won't establish a crossfire as North Attic will not be popped open. This is a perfect opportunity to rotate one of your less critical operators over to big window and just apply that level of crossfire and start to push the defensive team of Honor. You want to apply pressure because if you allow them to have a lot of fluidity between their bomb sites, they're going to be able to slam you at every time.
Yes, and Pox is going to be looking to do that very early on with a very aggressive pre-fly coming out, but nothing to be found for it. Gatekeepers, though, yet again, we're still seeing them not really committing that much, and thanks to that, Oreo will be caught off guard. Gunner is able to find that down. Won't be able to confirm the kill. The drone is seeing it and spotting it, but with the Thatcher, that's not going to be an error, though. We'll find the kill onto Splash, and it'll just even things out that a little bit more. You can't really go and pick up Oreo, so unfortunately that smoke is as good as dead as it stands.
He might be able to be rezzed. He's kind of locked over by the metal. He won't be able to be rezzed unless you were able to magically 6-pick to a dock midway through the round. Those smoke grenades are so critical. He's almost to the wall, but he eventually lies. Gunner finishes him off. And here's the calm before the storm, where everybody is going to start to find their kills. A sprint into the south side of games. Bellwinter putting the bomb down. There's no answer back whatsoever by Honor as we dive straight into a post plant.
Yes, and now suddenly they're gonna need that variation. They're gonna need that fluidity as Honor are looking to get this round back for them. Gunner will find a kill, and Apollo will just find two before getting traded out. Arrow finding their second. Gonna be looking to go for this 1 versus 1 against Gunner. This is absolutely everything to play for right now. Gatekeepers, this could be the momentum they need, and Arrow might just be about to give it to them, not knowing where Gunner's playing. Gonna have to go around and possibly go for this deep disable, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. Gunner will come around for the swing. We'll just wait a little bit until there's no real time to step back, and gets the kill. And the Gatekeepers are able to force Honor off of that match point for at least one more round.
We're highlighting the importance of opening a big window, and you can see the chaos that it creates. The defenders were trying to lock down entry from the south side of games. However, but when big window popped open, their crossfires looking into that position had to be moved. The bigger threat was big window, and that forced the smoke challenge. And unfortunate to Oreo, he loses his life in that scenario. That creates a big gaping hole, not only in the breach, but in the defensive Honor. It's a flood into the bomb site, and it forces Honor to crash back, trying to directly challenge that post plant. To their credit, they bring it down to a 1v1, almost able to win it, but almost doesn't count it. You actually have to be successful with that win, and it seems like Honor wants to retry this as they go back upstairs to dorms.
With a round like that, honestly, especially playing with a player like Aero on the team, I'd feel very confident doing that. However, that might just be a case of, like we saw in the last half, Honor, they lost their round due to Feltwilter being able to clutch up on those white stairs. Honor, they nearly won that round due to Arrow being able to get that clutch, so I feel like it might be a bit of false confidence. However, if Honor are able to bring it back and put it to match point, it's going to be beautiful. Gatekeepers, though, I cannot take it away from them. Incredible execution, able to shut down a lot of the freedom of movement the defenders need, and especially a team like Honor, where we've seen just their movement has been where they've been outplaying the Gatekeepers in most of these rounds, and being able to rotate around, shutting that down is huge. So I feel if we can see that again from the Gatekeepers, something that you can just put them in their place, that'll be that could be another round for Gatekeepers.
So if Gatekeepers go for the exact same style of attack, I would like to see Honor expand some of their defenders over to the white stairs, which means you're gonna have to put another defender either by security, roaming over on the kitchen side of the map, dining room, just so you can have that position a little bit more covered. Because you can't be stacking players over in kids' dorms. It's going to just be a slaughter fest because of that big window. Arrow is going to start that off with his expansion into Zulu. This is a good start and a good position to be in, but he probably needs one more defender to help him out in that scenario, because if he gets pinched by multiple attackers, it really doesn't matter how good of a player he is. He's not going to be able to win a gunfight against the Gatekeepers just swarming.
Now, very, very early map control being taken from the Gatekeepers. They know about the mirror windows. They know, honestly, that mirror window, I quite like that adjustment, but it's on a wall like white. Unless you fully reinforce it, you shut down, you struggle to really get that much use out of it, because obviously it works two ways. But if you reinforce that white wall, you lose a lot of the ability to collapse on the planters. So it seems they've just decided to let it happen. Wolfseas will take some damage, but Arrow, yet again, on the road with the fact that not being cleared out. That's something we need to pay attention to. And look at that! Splash is in garage. Does Splash know? I think Splash does, but just, oh no, that is it. Aristotle just unable to find the kill, but Surf is there, and this is where we're seeing Honor really step up. They're able to just move around, maneuver without the Gatekeepers really noticing. And that's where they're picking up these kills. That's where they're catching the Gatekeepers off guard. That's where they'll win this round if they do.
And if we go back to what we were saying at the beginning of the round, we saw a hole in Honor's defense. They were playing as individuals downstairs by Zulu, and they make the adaptation by rotating Surf on over. However, he will fall in that mindset as an individual, nowhere near his teammates and without any help. This is going to put his team at a severe disadvantage, but trades are going back and forth. Fox will actually be the winner of that, and we're back to equal man count. Perfect position to be in, but the defenders doesn't have enough utility. They only have one Nitro Cell left because Oreo has sent all of his smoke grenades downrange.
And that is definitely going to mean that we'll see this aggression coming out from Oreo, where Wolfseas is going to fall. Oreo will just expose, spots the leg of Felt, but is unable to land the shot. Will get that down, but not the kill. Felt, Walter, and Apollo are able to keep the Gatekeepers in it yet again. And Honor, I need to see a different map. We're seeing a lot of good coming out from you, especially when it comes to this roam game. But it's not working out. You're coming down to these situations that aren't favored for you in this late round. So try something different. And we're gonna head to the bottom floor again. Not a single team have decided to go for either of the kitchen sites, Chief. So I don't know if they're trying to save strats for it. I don't think kitchen is the kind of area to save for.
Yeah, McCready, I think you hit that perfectly. It seems like both these rosters have Kryptonite on this map. Whether or not it's downstairs to the Gatekeepers or upstairs for Honor, they need to start to mix and match their bomb sites and decide what is actually going to work out well for them. Because Honor has the option of going back downstairs to basement because it just opened up for them. What if they're able to win this, delivering themselves to match point? They're going to have to go to a different bomb site, whether or not it's dorms upstairs, or you go to that first floor, bringing out kitchen and its sister bomb sites of meeting room and dining room. We didn't see that at all for the Gatekeepers, and that might have contributed to why they ended up losing the half fort too. But also what we were saying is Thatcher's in play. This might start to lead the game to being a little bit more attacker-sided. And if you have to think, why is this game defender-sided traditionally? Well, it comes down to the fact that defenders have a lot more utility. And Thatcher turns that utility off. He doesn't destroy it anymore, but at the end of the day, it's turned off, same as destroyed utility, at least for those 10 seconds.
I mean, in my opinion, I feel the change for Thatcher has a lot more impact, especially in casual and maybe ranked. When it comes to comp, you're going to have teams that are coordinated. Before, you'd have to deal with bandit tricks and everything. You have to be coordinated. You have to work together. And if the better teams, you'll see are able to do that anyway. So the Thatcher only really affecting it for a certain amount of time now. Like you say, it might as well be destroyed. I don't really see a difference when you have teams ready to just get that hard breach on the wall. They're going to be counting down. They're going to be coordinated. They have all the time they need. So I just feel it offers a lot of opportunities for the attackers, and we're seeing that with Gatekeepers. They're deciding to take this early control a lot more earlier now. They're playing a bit more like Honor, in which they're getting in, they're getting the map control, they're starting on the hard breach. They're not taking all out of their play style, which I think is the right move to do, because then you play into their defense so much more. The Gatekeepers, they're taking this the right way.
We're going to have to break down the mirror windows. That's going to be the bane of their existence, particularly the one that is looking over towards J Bunker. Because even if you're not going for a plant anywhere near that zip code, that crossfire that J Bunker offers the attackers looking into Freezer is incredibly powerful. It's going to prevent any defender of Honor to wide swing. They're going to have to rotate to a different position if they even want to attempt to challenge that. So it's incredibly strong, and you can see that the Gatekeepers understand that perfectly. They've tasked 2 of their players to take this at all costs. Now Rexivy on the other side of the map is also going to find himself in a gunfight, losing his HP, but Gunner's actually going to find the scoreboard here in round 10, collecting Surf. The man that has been unstoppable has fallen, as well as his compadre in crime. Arrow is now down and unable to participate.
Yes, and now Gatekeepers are going for a plant. Again, they are struggling to really go the wrong way. Rexivy has a lot of time to deal with to avoid these C4s and to avoid these smoke canisters. Box, though, able to find a kill onto Gunner, able to shut things down, but Thatcher, at this point, with a minute left on the round, and the attackers looking to go for a plant, Thatcher, that isn't that huge of a loss. Another smoke canister will go out and force the attackers off, but they have a lot of time to deal with. Only 1 canister left on the board. This can cause a lot of issues later, but if Honor play it correctly, it can play in very strong. Plant will start to go down. Oreo will put that last canister out, and Rexavi will decide to just avoid it and head around. Now, though, it's going to start to dissipate. Now we're going to see Honor starting to ramp up the aggression and go for the gunfights. They know this round is about to end, and they want to end it, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Shotgun in hand, collecting one, collecting two. They all get knocked down. Honor in round 10 deliver themselves perfectly to match point. And it seems like the Kryptonite story continues. Every one of these rosters is so darn comfortable in the bomb sites that they're constantly able to win. And that just comes down to Gatekeepers. They got a little bit tunnel vision. They knew that they wanted to plant over in the E-box door, but they had all their manpower just sitting in 1 square meter with no real cross cover. We're highlighting how important it is to set up a crossfire over towards a J bunker looking into Fraser. If that rotation happened, the initial down of Rexavi wouldn't have been as impactful because that was a tandem engagement. Hawks also facilitated that forced one of the gun barrels of the Gatekeepers to challenge that, which allowed the SMG-11 to down Rexy in the end. A great play and a great job of the team just synergizing and working together. And look at it, Greedy. Finally, we see a tertiary bomb site. It is going to be dining room and kitchen.
I think this is Honor realizing, kids, it's not gone our way, and we need to try something different. Now, this site, it's one that I really enjoy seeing. I definitely prefer it over kitchen meeting, and it's for a number of reasons. Even in the 20-second meta, even since we've come out of it as well, you've got the ability of that shower's hold. You can impact that wall, you can keep that control, and if need be, when the push starts to come through into the actual site, you can swing very easily. So for the attackers, that's a key position to flush out. And with a Maestro or Wamai, now that Wamai has impact nades, it's just an absolute pain to hold, to try and flush out. But you need it if you want to go for that plant in default. The other option for attackers is to go the meeting side, or to go through security. In that case, you go into Wolfsies, or you go into Pox. Then there's the vertical play. There's a lot of potential for Oreo, as you can see in this kid's area, to hold this position, drop down after wasting a ton of time, and the attackers, they don't really catch that much of the advantage once they get it. So Minitown is the main opportunity here. If they had a Thermite on the board, they could get a very specific part of the floor with that hard breach, which will actually open up the hard wall. And it's something that is beautiful to watch, especially with a team that knows how to execute it and knows how to do it. But we're going to see Gatekeepers. They're going for Mini Tower, and they're going to have to try and start this push soon.
And of course, you coming out of the EU, you would love this bomb site because the Europeans absolutely do. Arrow with a gnarly, disgusting shot. Rexavi now falls. The only hard breacher in this lobby has been shut down, unable to play here in round 11, and forced to go watch the pre-established drones. This is going to put the attacking roster of Gatekeepers in a terrible position. Their strategy just flew out the window, and they're going to have to win gunfights. And that's what it's going to come down to. The Gatekeepers are more than capable of doing that, but with 90 seconds left on the clock, they're going to have to put their heads on the same page and the same wavelength.
Yeah, there are some positional errors in that last round. Like you said, 3 players died to smoke in E-box in that last round. If that's happening in that post-plant scenario, then there's something that does need to be worked out. I know you're not really trying to unleash your all in this qualifiers at the moment, but you need to be trying a little bit harder. You could position a little bit differently, and that's something Gatekeepers, they'll have to do perfectly. Like you said, no hard breach. This Thatcher, it's only really going to shut down the Maestro cameras, and now with a minute left, you're still trying to clear out kids. Now, granted, that hatch is open, so if Gutter finds that frag and finds Oreo as well, that could be absolutely huge. But right now, there's not really going to be anything happening, but Caster's Curse, you love to see it. Surf, though, is there with a refrag onto the diffuser.
A huge mistake being made by Honor, but fortunately for them, they still have the mana advantage by just a +1. And when you're Oreo upstairs in that exact same scenario, you have to be gun up the entire time. Hawks are going to fall to a similar scenario, and Honor just being caught off guard in every turn. They're going to find themselves at the -1 man advantage. They're going to have to fight from the disadvantage and try to collectively punish the 3 remaining members of Gatekeepers who are still debating on where they want to execute from. It's going to be a security tape. Collecting one is going to be Wolfie's SMG-11 in hand. He's found the diffuser. It's locked over by securities. It's going to force Gatekeepers to push him in tandem, one by one. He collects one, but unable to collect the second one. Fellwinter saves the day for his team. It was looking bad, but they're always good at winning their ones.
Oh, the very last second there, we see that Smoke should have just tried to hold that position because exposed themselves to Fellwinter there and coming up clutch with that huge impact frag just to keep them in the game that little bit more. Now they're 1 round away from going to OT. And that's a huge position to go in, to go from 6-4, go kitchen dining. That was the round to win, and now you get the opportunity to do it again. The biggest change that we're going to see is this double hard breach. Like you said, as soon as Rexify died, that was Gatekeepers in a horrible position, and honestly, at that point, it was Honor's round to win. But they were just able to give away too many kills. Now, Rexify will go for the 6 here. I'm not exactly sure who to. I think it should still be Hibana because of the reason we saw, but the Twitch will be coming out. And looking at the lineup of the attackers, of the defenders, sorry, with that mirror, which Gatekeepers don't know has been 6th, that does make sense to me at least.
So how will Honor now make these adaptations? Because their strategy was stemming from that opening duel, which Arrow won perfectly, but that's a strategy that they won't be able to replicate. There's no way that the Gatekeepers just dry peek into that shield again. That would just be utter madness if they did that. So we're probably going to see the Gatekeepers start off and then execute from that top floor immediately. You want to alleviate that pressure as soon as possible. And this is going to force Honor to have somebody on site as what I refer to as the primary camera watcher, where he just flicks through all the cameras, the default cameras, Maestro cameras, in this case the Echo drones, constantly relaying information. And as soon as somebody from Honor falls, well, that player can now put his little iPhone back in his pocket and be gone up. But you can't put somebody who is literally in the heat of combat, designed to hold an apex position upstairs on that duty, because if you do, like in round 11, they will get slammed because they're unable to shoot back.
Yeah, and I think when realistically each individual gunfight just turns into win your ones, let's be honest, being on a camera, not looking at where the enemy are coming from, that's not a huge start. Now, Surf had the information, could have told the player, and I'm pretty sure it's screaming through the microphone, but Oreo was unfortunately unable to get off in time. Now they will be looking to attack there again. They know that Arrow's playing there. The drone will spot them out. But Arrow, I want to see you play it a lot safer. You have those yokais to tell you when the push is coming through, and you should be able to realize very, very soon that you are going to be overwhelmed. Surf holding that white says yet again, looking for at the very least a refrag. If they can get it, it depends on the operator, but it could be absolutely huge. It could change this round, but right now, we are going to see this Attic wall being opened up. Yokai will go off, but nobody will be pushing just yet. Surf getting droned out. Now the game is given away. Gatekeepers know exactly how Honor want to hold this, but do they have Wolfies accounted for?
Surf has rotated deeper into the upstairs buffer room. If he hasn't droned out, he can dish out some true punishment. Now, Aristotle's also in a very bad spot. He has the opportunity of rotating through that hatch, but Surf is on an island with no hope of rotating. It's very important that he synchronizes with his teammate. Aristotle's going to take a ton of damage. Rotating away, Apollo will find one, refragged by Oreo. So back to equal man count we go. We're talking about how Surf's micro positioning was most likely going to catch him off guard. Well, he definitely was on the bad end of the attacking side, now down and out.
Now we're seeing some late round adjustment from Honor. They're saying, okay, we know that most of them are playing towards that attic side, towards that dining. They're going to be looking to open up meeting. And now, this is what we see Oreo going below, trying to catch them off guard. This is what you need to be watching out if you are a gatekeeper. And I think that's where we're seeing Fellwinter try and catch off Oreo. The question is it on time? It looks like you're too late, as Oreo will push up these North Tower stairs. We'll take out that one camera, and with the suppressed MP5, will not give away the position. So this could be absolutely huge. And Chief, 30 seconds left as the plant is going down. Now is the exact time for the push. Oreo gets one and gets two. The diffuser's gone. And Honor, that could be it. The game could be over. It could be yours. You just have to be careful. Gunner will be taken out, and now Fellwinter all on their own. Balls to Oreo. What happened?
Oh, that's a yikes from me, Creedy. Jeez. There was a flake drone there. Oreo shot the drone. Where is the gatekeepers? What are they looking at? Where are the dead people? There were dead people. Watch a drone flick through the cameras. Please. That is one of the most basic steps in Siege, and I don't want to be too critical of them, but we're talking about upper echelon teams, teams in Challenger League capable of playing at the high levels, and they make one of the most basic fundamental mistakes that I would expect out of a collegiate team or a T4 team. We're talking about saving strats. I was expecting to see that today. I wasn't expecting errors like that to be made. Both teams played well in their defense. It was attackers sided for the most part. We kind of saw it going in that direction, but that's just a mistake that you can't see.
I'm going to argue it's a mistake you can't unsee at that point.
That's
after
fair,
watching
yeah.
it happen. You know, you're looking at this, you're seeing a player being able to go below. Granted, we did see one of the players, I believe it was Gunner, heading down below to try and cut them off, but at that point, you're too late. There should still be somebody on the camera so that Gunner at least knows you need to come back up. Something bad is happening. That camera, if somebody was on it, like you said, that could have been a completely different round. The plant was going down. There was a lot of site control and a lot of good sight lines that Gatekeepers had to access. Unfortunately, the Gatekeepers were found without a key, and Honor will be able to take them out.
You know what I think was happening right there? Somebody was just on Twitter a little bit too much. Maybe they're researching pictures of Crow in his maid costume that he was talking about in CCS this weekend. Maybe that's what he was doing, but he wasn't participating in the lobby enough. That's definitely for sure. And just returning back over to the teams that were participating in, we're starting to see some games roll on through. I know Matt Squared was able to go for a nice toasty 7-0 against their opponents.
Yeah, that's very nice to see qualified there. And honestly, moving forward, it's going to be quite intimidating to quite a number of teams. Now, I'm just going to get this bracket updated if I can see so far what's been going on. And I'm still kind of recovering, at least from what we saw earlier. I can't get it out of my head right now. Now, looking at some of the other teams, Aerial Arise were able to beat up Immense Esports so far. We're also seeing teams such as Disrupt Gaming. They got taken out 7-4 by Fractured Memories, who will be moving on forward. And Redux Rising actually going to fall to the range effect. Whereas on a more positive note, Synthetic Esports, that new roster looking to prove itself, able to pick up a 7-2 onto Overture Gaming. So a very nice start for them and a very interesting round one in these quals.
Yeah, Goofy Goobers would fall 7-4 to their opponents of Versity. Survey Corps would go against Dilemma Esports, also taking that game in a 7-0 fashion. And the new roster of Wichita Wolves, they would have a banger, dropping a 7-0 against Digital Dynasty. Now, I saw on Twitter some people hyping up both of those rosters, particularly Wichita Wolves, but my friend, it seems like the Wolves came here to play, and they are doing that perfectly. A 7-0 is something that you don't see every day, and I think the only other team to actually drop that 7-0 was Matt Square that we talked about.
Yeah, all the other teams at least being able to put up one or two rounds on the board so far, but I'm looking at this and I'm very excited for the next couple of games that we do have coming up. Now, as you'll see on the cameras when they do come up onto our screen above me, twitch.tv/SFCL and twitch.tv/9ballesports. If you want to see some of the other games that are being played, if you're not seeing the ones that necessarily you want to see on the mainstream, they're also doing some of the qual games, so make sure to check them out. But honestly, I can't wait for this second game, so if you want to stick around, please do, because you're not going to get disappointed. Honor versus Gatekeepers, 7-5, I do believe, and an absolute banger of the game. And honestly, SCS, it's my first cast with them, and they've so far delivered to the top quality.
I think you're the one that delivered to the top quality, my friend.
Thank you.
It's good to see you back here. We always cast on EU broadcast, but I've stolen you, maybe permanently, over here to North America, so we'll have to keep you around at least a little longer. At least that's what I want. I have no say here, but in my heart, you're here to stay.
I mean, I'd like to get some more casts in, and you do flatter me quite a bit, but that is going to be our first game, and honestly looking forward. We're still waiting on a couple of the brackets to resolve themselves and see how some of the games go out, but we will be taking a short break before we move on. Now, like I say, I can't stress it enough. Thank you for SCS for the opportunity to have me for these calls. Thank you, Chief, for having me alongside. We will take that break. Do not go anywhere. The night has only just begun.